I'm Michelle from Legal Suite, and this is part one of how to use notifications linked to reminders and plans of action. Okay, so please note, for the purposes of this, I have already created a transfer matter, and my notifications are going to be items that are sent to the buyer, the seller, and the estate agent as soon as a reminder is marked as done. So for the purposes of this, I have already attached a plan of action called Transfers Conventional to my matter, and this has set up various items that needed to be done along the way. For example, acknowledgement of receipt, deeds offer search, requesting cancellation figures, applying for rates, applying for transfer duty, and all the usual things, diary entries and milestones that occur on a transfer matter. Now, the notifications and events are linked to these reminder items. Now, it can be slightly confusing, so it's important to remember that these things need to be done in the correct order. First of all, we create our notification. What is it that we're sending to which party? Are we sending an SMS? Are we generating a letter? Are we sending a text? And so on and so forth. Then we create the event, and we link the event to the reminder item in the plan of action. Okay, so let's start with creating our notification. So we go to our setup menu, we come to File Management, and we go to Notifications. Now, again, I have already set up most of the notifications on the most important actions in this matter. For example, acknowledging receipt, when documents are signed, when costs are paid, when transfer duty and rates are applied for and received, when the matter is lodged at PREP. So we're going to do one example, and we're going to do notifications for documents registered. Okay, so here on my little list, yellow screen, yellow insert, and the item that I am going to create is going to be called Documents Registered. Right, so let's just right click and use our insert button. So we're going to say Documents Registered. Now, I want to create three different types of notifications. One to the estate agent. Okay. And this is going to go by means of an SMS. Agents are on the road all the time. They very rarely have time to check their email. So we are going to send them an SMS. Okay. So immediately the program will simply pop in the description of the item at the wording. Now, you would need to come and change this in both the English and the Afrikaans language. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to say change. And in here is where I'm going to pop the wording for my SMS. Now, for the purposes of this, I have already typed out the wording. So I'm just going to go to my Word document. And this is going to be the content of the SMS that I'm sending to the estate agent. You can see I have fields in it that will bring in details of the seller, the buyer, and the street address of the property. Now, this has all come from within the DocGen database and the address book, and if you need assistance on this, by all means, have a look at our various webinars. Right, so I'm going to Control-C to copy, go back into Legal Suite, and I'm going to paste the message. Okay, so this will say we confirm that the transfer from the details of the seller to the details of the buyer of the street address of the property was today registered in the deeds office. So we say OK, and please do insert it in both languages, even if you are only sending in English. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to paste the English version in the Afrikaans language, and I'm going to say OK. Now, at the bottom, this is where the program says, right, who do you want me to notify? So I'm going to right click and say change. So we're not going to obviously advise a specific employee. We are going to advise a party. And which party are we going to advise? So we need to select the role of the party being advised. And this would obviously be the estate agent. So we click on the ellipse button and we scroll down until we find estate agent. There we go. Okay. And prompt user before sending notification, I'm going to mark this as yes. The program will stop and say, are you sure you want to send this notification? And you then have the option to either say yes or no. Right, so I'm going to say that, and I'm just going to pop in another one called documents registered, and this is going to go to the buyer. Okay, so this time we are going to send an email, and again, right click, change, and let me just go to my Word document. Right, we confirm that the transfer from seller's details to yourself, because it's going to the buyer, was it was today registered. Let's just change that. You can see I've copied and pasted from a previous message for the sake of consistency. Right, so let's grab the buyer's message. So we will Control C to copy and simply block what's in there, Control V to paste, say OK, and we're going to do the same with the Afrikaans option. Control V, and off we go. Okay, now at the party, this is going to the buyer. So we change, and what role? Click on the drop down, and here we have the buyer. Okay, there we go, and I'm going to say yes. Please ask me before you send this. Now the final little one we are going to send to the seller. Documents registered, and that will be going to seller. And again, seller, we are going to send an email. Okay, these are your other little options. A phone call, it'll pop up and remind you to send a phone call or an instant message, but instant messages are only used within Legal Suite. Okay, so let's just get our final little message. Here we go. And this will be, let's just change this for use with the seller. So this will be from yourself to, and here we will put in buyer line. And again, if you need some assistance with the use of fields, please have a look. We have extensive white papers on using fields for customized documents. Okay, Control C, and let's just pop that in there. And again, for the Afrikaans variant. Okay, and again, this is going to be going to our seller. So we're going to change that and select our party, scroll down to the S's, and there we go. And yes, I would like it to stop and ask me. Okay, right. So once I've created my notifications, I can then create my events. So I go back into my setup, back into file management, and we now go to our events. And again, you can see that I have created our various events. The only one I need to create is our documents registered. So again, I'm going to right click and I'm going to insert. The description will be documents registered. Okay, it applies to my group transfers. We don't have a trigger other than a reminder, and I'm going to again tell the program to ask before it's run. Now, it is here that we will insert the notification that we've just created or any other type of event that we wish to trigger. So right click and insert, and we now have an option to insert a file note, create a reminder, debit a fee, send a notification, assemble a document, email a document, and so on and so forth. And you can insert multiple tasks at the event. For the purposes of this, I'm going to use only a notification. So I'm going to choose send notification, say OK, and here the program will take me back to my notifications, and I am then going to select documents registered. There we go. To estate agent. I'm also going to insert the notification to the buyer and to the seller. So we're going to say notification, and there is our notification to buyer, and let's insert our notification to our seller. So you can put as many of these as you need to. Right, there we go. Okay, so we created our event. Let's just move our screen up quickly and click on our OK button there. Now, our final step in the process is to now add this event to our reminder item in our plan of action. So we exit events, go back to our setup, back to file management, and this time we are going to go to our plans of action. And I have set up a transfers conventional, and these are all the items in my reminders for my transfers, from acknowledgement all the way down to closing our file. So we are going to add this particular notification to documents registered. So I highlight the item, right click, say change. This is my reminder item. Click on the ellipse button. This is the actual reminder. You can see I'm in the reminder screen. Again, I want to right click and change. And here at events is where I have the option to insert my event. So I right click and insert, and I now need to go and select my event. Okay, and that was my documents registered. So I click on select, say OK. It's added the event to my reminder item. Say OK, select, and OK. Right, I have now set up my events, and I'm now going to go and test them on my matter. Right, so I come to my transfer matter, I come to my reminders, and let us have a little look at those. So please watch our webinar on the following, how to use, how the events are triggered.